studios in Nigeria, this is Newsbeats on NITV. I am Oluchi Madu. Our major stories: Federation Accounts Allocation Committee allots state funds in Abuja. Ribadu reinstated to position of Assistant Inspector General of Police. Foreign Affairs Ministry reacts to killing of a Nigerian in Poland. All these and more stories when we return. Federation Accounts Allocation Committee held its monthly meeting yesterday at the Sheraton Hotel in Abuja. According to our reporter Ogodadi Uge, there were no controversies during and after the event, as the monies were distributed based strictly on the doctrine of economic pragmatism. He continues the story from here.
The State Commissioners of Finance and Accountants General attended the meeting, which was a huge success. The total amount distributed, that is, April allocation along with arrears, was 749.88 billion, 410 billion being April allocation and 339.6 billion being January to March arrears. The meeting was described to have particularly favored the government workers.
Remember that we make sure that back owes before 16th. Under those circumstances, back must owe before 16th, and also the accounts of the states, including federal government and local government, must be credited by 21st, latest 20th and 21st. So we expect that all salaries should have been paid latest by 24th everywhere, and that's the whole essence. We did a quicker part analysis on that.
The excess crude account, which was meant to be a reserve for the nation, has continually been tampered with. Is this account currently the only source of funds, or is this a clear indication that Nigeria is broke?
The allocation for the month of April, and we are going to also pay some money for the arrears. Where will the money come from? Certainly from SS crude. So we are still taking money from SS crude. So it's the total amount of money 339.6. Yeah, we'll still be taking from SS crude.
We have been keeping monies in the excess crude account. So the balances has been increasing from January to date. The excess crude account is in two components. We have the Naira and we have the dollar. And this differential of 339 is not only as a result of variation in the price, it's also as a result of exchange rate. Last year we were using exchange rate of 125 Naira to a dollar. In this budget, we are using exchange rate of 150 Naira to a dollar. So from January to date, there is a differential of 25 Naira only on exchange rate. But when the exchange rate was lower, we were accruing the excess amount. And in that account alone, we had about 129 billion Naira that was in that account. So it's also a reserve account which we set aside because it was not appropriated. Now that it has been appropriated, that amount was distributed.
We cannot, however, ignore the allegation that most state governments and their ministries of finance have neglected generating internal revenue, but depend solely on federal government allocations. Chairman of the Commissioners Forum, Rebo Usman, defends this.
Revenue generation is big business. You must invest in it to get to the same point. So it's not as if the states have refused to do something and they are only coming here. And I want to tell you that most of these states are doing very well now. But you should also understand that we have issues with the federal government. There are certain revenues that are collected and kept by the federal government that are supposed to actually be brought into the federation account. That was why 16 state governments, sometime in 2008, went to the Supreme Court. And it was on the basis of that a technical committee was set up, headed by the then Minister of Finance, who concluded their jobs and made recommendations to the government. Right now, we as states are saying, look, the federal government should look into that report because there are issues there that will also have to face going on by the federal government, power going on. But by the time they are done, the states will be able to now have economic activities in the various states that will lead to generation of local revenue by the states. So it's not an issue of states. It's a global and a holistic issue that all of us as a government are looking into, from the federal down to the states.
For NITV News, I am Ogodadi Uge.
Former chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Mallam Nuhu Ribadu, who was sacked from the police force about 2 years ago, has been reinstated as Assistant Inspector General of Police and retired with effect from December 2008. Ribadu was removed as EFCC chairman in 2008 and was subsequently demoted to a deputy commissioner of police and deployed in Benin, Edo State. He was sacked because he refused to report at his new post. He sued the force for illegal termination and then fled abroad over an alleged threat to his life. Since the developments, many have linked Ribadu's reinstatement as AIG to pressure from the international community and the presidency. The decision was taken after the chairman of the Police Staff College, Mr. Pari Osayande, was summoned to the presidential villa during the quarterly meeting of the college on Tuesday, the 18th of May. He returned to the meeting an hour later to introduce the Ribadu matter for discussion, but this met with opposition from some commissioners present. They argued that Ribadu's continued presence in the police would have a demoralizing impact and erode the credibility of the PSC and the police command. The PSC agreed to follow the path of due process by telling Ribadu's lawyers to urge him to submit a letter to ask for a review of his demotion and termination of employment. The PSC, after a review of the letter, decided to reinstate him and change his dismissal to retirement. Sources say this development has paved the way for Ribadu to have a role in this government. The alleged marriage of Senator Sani Yerima to a 13-year-old Egyptian girl continues to generate a lot of controversy as non-governmental organizations all over the country are crying for further investigations and possible sanctions. Zonta International Club of Nigeria, which is committed to ending human trafficking, has joined this cause and is set to drag Yerima before the United Nations to answer to these allegations. In a statement signed by 13 members of the group at the weekend, Zonta called on the First Lady, Mrs. Patience Jonathan, wives of all state governors, Women Affairs Minister and commissioners, as well as mothers all over the Federation, to collectively stand against Yerima's action. The group is of the opinion that as a former governor and now senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Yerima is expected to serve as a role model to Nigerian men throughout the country and has by this alleged action fallen short of expectation. A Nigerian citizen resident in Poland was shot dead on Sunday, May 23, 2010 by the Polish police in Warsaw, the Polish capital. After the incident, 13 Nigerian citizens were also arrested. The Nigerian Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Martin Uhumobi, yesterday met with the chargé d'affaires of the Polish embassy to formally protest the killing. He also called on the Polish authorities to set up an inquiry into the incident to ensure that all those found guilty are held accountable. The chargé d'affaires offered condolences to the Nigerian government over the tragic incident, which she described as unfortunate. She also disclosed that the Polish authorities were already investigating the matter and assured that the details and outcomes of the investigation will be communicated to the Nigerian government as soon as it is resolved. And that's it on this edition of Newsbits. Thanks for watching.